You ever met someone who arrives at your house with a suitcase full of drama, a vocabulary of fancy words, and a wardrobe that looks like they've raided Scarlett O'Hara's closet, only to leave you questioning your entire life choices? Well, buckle up, because this story is about that person and how her visit blows up lives like an overripe watermelon dropped from a skyscraper. But hey, before you start judging, remember this. The world these characters lived in wasn't exactly the Instagram-friendly, do-what-you-like society we know today. Back then, your personal life wasn't just personal, it was the whole town's favorite Netflix series. And if you broke the rules, you weren't just canceled, you were erased. All right, let's ride this streetcar together. Our story begins with a woman, elegant, fragile, and just a touch theatrical, arriving at a rather run-down neighborhood called Elysian Fields. Now, if that name makes you think of paradise, hold on to that thought, because this paradise is full of broken radios, smashed light bulbs, and more domestic drama than a telenovela marathon. This woman, let's call her Blanche for now because, well, that's her name, shows up at her younger sister Stella's apartment. Blanche is clearly not from around here. She walks in wearing pearls and gloves like she's heading to the governor's ball. But what she finds instead is Stella's husband Stanley, a man built like a human bulldozer, whose hobbies include poker, beer, and yelling. Now Blanche is hiding some secrets, but before we unpack that, let's just appreciate the culture clash happening here. Blanche is old Southern gentility. She likes poetry, candlelight, and bathing in hot water to calm her nerves. Stanley? He's all about meat, sweat, and the occasional wife-smashing light bulb kind of love. I kid you not, when Blanche first arrives, Stanley throws a hunk of meat at Stella as a romantic gesture. Nothing says I love you like raw protein. At first, Blanche pretends everything is fine. She says she's just visiting because the family estate, Belle Reve, is gone, lost, sold, vanished. The name itself means beautiful dream, and guess what? That dream popped like a soap bubble. Stanley doesn't buy her. I'm just visiting story for a second. He wants receipts. Literally. He thinks Blanche has swindled Stella out of the property. And trust me, Stanley is not the kind of man you want suspicious of you.
Come on, y'all. Why acting suspicious?
But the cracks start showing pretty fast. Blanche is not exactly the perfect Southern belle she wants everyone to believe. She's broke, jobless, and carrying the emotional baggage of a luxury cruise liner. Her first marriage ended in tragedy. She married young to a sensitive, poetic boy. But one day she caught him, well, let's just say being intimate with an older man. And instead of handling it with empathy, she told him,
I know, you disgust me.
That one sentence shattered him. The young man shot himself, and Blanche's life spiraled from there. Heartbroken, homeless, and clinging to scraps of dignity, she started looking for love in all the wrong places. Men, and more men. One of them was a 17-year-old student, which got her fired from her teaching job. So Laurel, her hometown, slammed the door on her, and Blanche became, let's say, unwelcome everywhere.
Get your phone out of my face!
Enter Stella, her sweet sister. Stella is living her own dream in Elysian Fields with Stanley. But let me tell you, this marriage is no fairy tale. It's more like a boxing match with occasional cuddles. Stanley is loud, proud, and quick with his fists. When he gets drunk during poker nights, things go from bad to call the cops real fast. In one scene, Stanley smashes a radio in a fit of rage because apparently, music and poker don't mix. And what does Stella do after he hits her? She runs upstairs to the neighbors, only to come back, fall into his arms, and make up like nothing happened. Ah, love.
I know it must have seemed to you, and I'm awful sorry it had to happen, but it wasn't anything serious as you seem to take it. In the first place, when men are drinking and playing poker, anything can happen. It's always powder keg. He didn't know what he was doing.
You hear that? That's Stella explaining away a black eye like it's a spilled cup of tea. And the best part?
He's taken the radio to get it fixed. It didn't land on the pavement, so only one tube was smashed.
Yes, forget her face. The real tragedy is the radio.
Come again?
Blanche, of course, is horrified. She tells Stella to leave Stanley to start over. But Stella? She's chained by love, or at least by the illusion of love and the fear of being an unmarried woman. Because in 1947, society said if you were single after marriage, you were basically a floozy. Now Blanche tries to find salvation in another man, Mitch, one of Stanley's poker buddies. Mitch is sweet, polite, and lives with his mother, basically the opposite of Stanley. Blanche flirts, and for a while it looks like she's about to snag herself a good guy. She even dreams of finally settling down. But remember those skeletons in her closet? Well, Stanley opens the door and lets them all dance out. Stanley digs into Blanche's past and finds out about her affairs, her dismissal from the school, everything. He tells Mitch, and suddenly Mitch, the man who wanted to marry her, decides he can't. Because what would his mother think? Hypocrisy alert? He won't marry her, but he still wants to sleep with her. Classy, right? Things hit rock bottom on the night of Stella giving birth. While she's in the hospital, Stanley and Blanche are alone. And here's where things turn truly dark. Stanley destroys what's left of Blanche's fragile world by assaulting her. That scene is gut-wrenching, and it seals Blanche's fate. When Stella returns, Blanche tries to tell her what happened. But Stella, she refuses to believe her sister. Why? Because if she admits it, her perfect little marriage bubble bursts. So what does she do? She sides with Stanley. With Eunice, the neighbor, nodding in approval, they commit Blanche to a mental institution. And then comes the line, the most famous line in the entire play. When the doctor arrives to take her away, Blanche says,
"Whoever you are, I have always depended on the kindness of strangers."
Boom! That's the sound of your heart breaking. Blanche walks off, shattered, while Stella clutches her baby and lies to herself that she did the right thing. This unforgettable drama is none other than A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams, first performed in 1947, and yes, it's still rocking stages today. What a play! Seriously, it's a satire of society, of its hypocrisy, its rigid moral codes, and its obsession with marriage as a badge of honor, even when that marriage is toxic. Blanche may look like the victim here, and she is in many ways, but every character is trapped. Stella is chained by her desire and by society's judgment. Stanley is bound by his own toxic masculinity and paranoia. Mitch is shackled by his mother's expectations and double standards. The theme of illusion versus reality runs through every scene. Blanche lives in illusions. Soft lights, romantic talk, pretending she's still young and desirable because reality is just too cruel. Stella lives in the illusion that her marriage is solid. And Stanley? He clings to the illusion of control. But reality bulldozes them all. And desire. Well, desire is the engine driving every action here. It brings Stella to Stanley. It drags Blanche to ruin. It creates Elysian Fields, a place that promises heaven but honestly delivers chaos. What's also fascinating is the play's commentary on gender roles and domestic abuse. Stella defends Stanley after every beating because, as she says,
Stanley's always smashed things. Why, on our wedding night, soon as we came in here, he snatched off one of my slippers and rushed about the place smashing the light bulbs with it.
Light bulbs, radio, her dignity, it's all collateral damage. And let's not forget the hypocrisy around sexuality. Blanche is crucified for her affairs, while men like Stanley and Mitch skate by. Tennessee Williams, born Thomas Lanier Williams, was one of America's greatest playwrights. His works often explored themes of fragility, desire, and societal pressure. A Streetcar Named Desire won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama, and well, it really solidified his place in literary history. So what do you think? Was Blanche a villain, a victim, or maybe both? And would Stella have been better off leaving Stanley, or was she just as trapped as her sister? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most explosive plays of the 20th century, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more classic literature reviews. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in diving deeper into this book, I've left some links down in the description. You can use it to grab yourself a copy and keep the adventure going. And if you're in the mood for more great reads, don't go just yet. Click on one of the videos popping up right now that I think you'll love. And don't forget to give this review a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more. Every bit of support helps us grow this little community of book lovers. See you in the next one.